Hi everybody, good evening. I hope everybody's well. It's Adam Shewfield here from the Smithfield agency, and I'm just coming online to talk you through our section in this fantastic pub, restaurant, coffee shop 100-day marketing and PR plan. I just want to say how much we've enjoyed working with the team, and hopefully there's enough information in this to get everybody what they need to start trading again and see their way through this very, very difficult situation. I'm going to take you through slide by slide and give you a very top line overview of the media planning section. A lot of the things we're going to talk about a media planning agency can help you with. If you don't have one of those, then please do reach out to Smithfield and we'll do our best to help. And if not, a lot of the information I'm going to share will be available online, or you can send me an email. So let's just jump straight in. I will take you to my section, which is quite deep. Look at all this wonderful content. I'm sorry I'm not that good with Google Slides, but we will get there any second. Clearly you've read all of this before me anyway, so it shouldn't be a surprise. I'm on page 111, and then we'll jump straight in. And here we go, media planning by Smithfield. What is media planning? Media planning is the art of distributing your marketing money most effectively to reach your audience. So the job of a media planning buying agency is to take your commercial message and deliver it to your target market in the most efficient manner. So the first question a media agency will ask you is, who is your customer? And you'll tell them, and they'll either agree or disagree with you, and then they will come up with a media selection which will hopefully deliver that idea in the most effective manner. And when we talk about effective media planning, we can either talk about delivery in terms of cost per reach or emotional reach, i.e. how it engages the audience and gets them to react. In the end, we're looking for business objectives, so measurement should be based on what we're trying to deliver. That could be footfall, that could be online orders, whatever you decide, but that should be part of your briefing process. At the agency, we have a media planning process. You sit in the center of this process, and we start off by clearly understanding your business and its objectives. Now, this may sound like a really silly question, but actually it might not be a bad thing to do, is sit down and actually write down on a piece of paper what you're trying to achieve through this marketing activity. Next, we would ask you, who's your target market? Who's your customer? And we'll talk a bit about how you get to that in a second, but you might want to start at this stage just by writing down who that customer is. And then we'll talk through how we come up with a strategy, a media plan, and then how we deploy that to reach your best result. So in the agency, we use lots of planning systems to help our customers understand who their customers are. And primarily we look at postcode data, commercial data, and drive time radius data to understand who a customer is and where they come from. Once we've got that data, it allows us to profile them and then come back and tell you the type of media they like to consume, giving you a very effective media plan. Now, you can use systems like Mintel or Nielsen or Cam Media, and you can use things like Experian or CACI to look at a postcode of your customer and find out where they're from. Alternatively, you could get a map, look at the local area, and see where people tend to migrate from to your venue, and then you'll have an understanding of what type of people they are. When we talk about media planning, we will always try and ask you to think about your audience. And actually, as a media planner, that's our job too. We have to try and step out of ourselves and put ourselves in the shoe of your customer. By then thinking about how that customer lives their life, experiences their day, and the way they consume media, allows us to plan a media strategy which allows you to deliver your message effectively to them. So this is a question we would put to you in the absence of an agency is, don't think about marketing to yourself. Things like, I never read a newspaper or I never listen to the radio may be relevant to you, but that may not be relevant to your customers. One way of doing this would be to reach out directly to your customers. Maybe speak to them via Facebook or another platform and ask them questions about what they do, how they do it, and when they do it. This can help you inform your media plan. Next, think about where they are. Most of the media we're going to talk about today can be played and lives around where your business is. It's pointless planning media for an audience that's an hour away if they're never going to come to your venue. So if you know people generally only travel 10 minutes to get to you at the furthest point, then try and limit the distribution of your messages to that location. The same can be said of all of the digital media you've seen today can be limited geographically. The same can be said for traditional media. Gone are the days when you have to hit a huge swathe of an area just to reach your target market. Now, the other thing I'll ask you to bear in mind if you're undertaking this process by yourself is cost versus cover. Now, when you're looking at buying media, obviously you're going to look at the capital cost. What is the total outlay? What your agency will tend to do is they'll look at the cost, but also they'll look at the cost per 1,000 people they're reaching using that media. And they'll weigh up the value of that media by how much that cost per 1,000 is and the quality of content that they're getting. For example, you would pay more for somebody seeing your ad in the cinema than you would on Facebook. Why is that? Well, in cinema, I'm looked in a dark room and I'm shown a film with sound and music. When on Facebook, I might have a glancing impression whilst I serve all the other messages in my life. The same can be said for a print ad or for a poster. It's a much more glancing exposure. But I would pay more for TV because I'm sitting in a room staring at the television. If I'm using radio, then again, I'm more likely to be doing something else whilst listening to the radio than purely sitting there listening to the radio. So the cost of that eyeball or that ear on your plan will give you a measure of how effective that is. If it seems really expensive and the channel isn't of a sufficiently high quality, then you should either renegotiate that price or think about using a different media channel to deliver that message. Now I'm going to talk about all the different channels that are available to you today. Now obviously these are going to vary completely based on where your business is. But what we're trying to do here is to give you a sense of how the different channels work. And a lot of our experience working together as a team has been brought to bear here. So you'll hear Mark often talk about the value of an A-board. Well, the same can be said for a poster because they can be bought near where your business is or where your competitors are and where your customers are. There is nothing better than driving a prompt to purchase in the high street or near where you are, specifically around your venue. People need prompting. They lead very busy lives. They spend their life zoning out from all of these messages. But if your message is on the high street and in front of your customer and telling them to come in here, do this, or think about that, then they're highly likely to engage with it. And depending on where you're based in the country, this can deliver very effective cost per cover. For instance, a single poster on your high street can cost from as little as £200, depending on whether it's a 6-sheet or whether it's a phone booth. So it's very much worth looking around the local area, looking at what posters are there, noting the number of the poster, and then contacting either an agency or the contractor and getting a price for that poster. What you'll find is there are often much lower prices for local advertisers than national ones. And I think in the current environment, there'll definitely be opportunities for our media owners to support local businesses. And this is a great way of getting your message out there as people start coming back onto the high street and start getting to regain their lifestyle again. Particularly if people stop traveling into the office as they've historically done. The opportunity now is to gain them as they start exploring their high street again as a home worker versus an office worker. So very high up on the list of consideration. The next thing, which is very popular and very effective in our experience, is the idea of putting a leaflet through a door. This idea of brand to hand. So when we're thinking about reopening or launching a new product or a new menu or an opening offer, there's no better way than putting this through the doorstep of the people who are most likely to buy your product. Now you can do this with yourself, with people coming off a furlough, with friends and family, or you can use a media company that will pay people to effectively deliver these leaflets for you. And as you can see, this can be a very cost-effective model to support all of our other marketing activities. A leaflet supporting Facebook or pay-per-click marketing is a great way of bringing that messaging to life and delivering the offer to your audience. Radio is a great way of building cover to support your marketing mix. The targeting is not store specific, but it does allow you to reach the local area. And you'll find there are lots of local radio stations as well as the bigger ones that are supporting the region. It's a frequency medium, so think about being on there for a longer period of time and having a 4 to 6 OTH over a week or a 2-week period. OTH stands for opportunity to hear, but it works very well at building cover, and it supports things like posters and leaflets very effectively in a local marketplace. Cinema. I've included cinema because cinemas are now gone digital. So you can actually buy your local cinema. So if you think about your local high street or your local area, there will be 1, 2, or maybe even 3 cinemas all within half a mile or a mile of your location. So the idea of buying a poster or actually being on the cinema screen is suddenly very, very achievable. Now, although the volume of people isn't going to be great because cinema doesn't build cover quickly, the impact of that messaging is great. So if you can afford to be there for 2 or 3 months, whilst people start going back to cinema, that audience are going to associate that experience with your venue. And if you link that through with an offer, driving a call to action either pre-film or post-film, suddenly this is a very effective gauging media at a relatively low cost because it's super localized. Now again, I've put television on here because clearly if you're a national brand, TV at the moment offers an excellent opportunity to go to a mass audience at a very low cost. However, with things like Sky AdSmart, you now can target up to 1,000 households or just a fixed postcode. So targeting a very small area with a very specific message is now highly viable. And again, this combined with your digital media or your leaflets is a great way of getting an audience to consider your venue once again. Print, it's not dead just yet, but obviously you need to consider how strong print is in your area. Clearly, some areas have very strong paid for titles and very strong free titles. Others are less well supported. So you'll have to make a decision based on the effect they have within your area. And again, as a PR opportunity, reach out and speak to them. And if you are getting a PR mention, what you might want to do is support that PR with a commercial message. You might find that one actually helps you to leverage the other. Buy an ad, get some PR, or vice versa. So I've gone through some of the main above the line advertising examples, and obviously I could talk in a lot more detail about those. As an agency, we work with lots of venues and do lots of location marketing. So what the team and I have come up with is a series of combinations of great media running together and the sort of capital costs associated with them. What I'm not going to do is go through them all line by line, but as you read through the slides, you'll get a sense of how we combine different media together to deliver the most effective advertising campaign. And we'll be very happy to talk to anybody about this if they've got a specific request or want to know about their particular area. And last but not least, I'm going to leave you with this idea of the media multiplier effect. If you're on a limited budget, and I know a lot of you will be, then focusing around very effective channels like PPC or Facebook, and then maybe one above the line channel may be the way to go. But what I would say to you is that a combination of more than one media delivers more than it's combined. And we call that the media multiplier effect. So reaching somebody with one message and then reinforcing it with another is much more powerful than just using a single channel. So even if it's leaflets or one poster, that's going to be disproportionately greater than putting all of your money into just one thing. We lead complicated lives, and when you're using media, you're trying to interrupt our daily habit seekers with a new message. To do this, using a media multiplier effect of multiple channels will give you the best results. So I'm going to say thank you. That was obviously a very quick whip around our slides, and obviously what we've tried to do is give you an idea of how to think about your media planning. But like the rest of the team, if we can be of any help or assistance, or you've got questions, then please do reach out. And I wish you all the best of the luck opening up and carrying on your businesses post-COVID. Thank you.